He's the greatest MC in the world. It's my guy DT. He's here. This is Late Night Parents. Ways to follow the show. LateNightParents.com for a quick micro podcast. Danny, what's going on? Where are you right now?
In Atlanta. I'll be attending the Black Sports Business Symposium this week, actually. So the symposium starts tomorrow at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So you're getting me live in my hotel room as we speak now.
Oh, okay. This is extra special.
Yeah, when Ted Hicks says the bat call, you got to answer the bat phone.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. All right. So symposium is happening. A lot of the brightest and some seasoned and some people that are breaking into broadcasting and journalism and communications and all the above. So tell me, before we start talking to NBA, what are you looking for out of the symposium?
I think it's just the ability to network with some of the biggest and brightest in all phases of sports. I mean, there's journalists here, there's people in business, sports business, there are people in social media, there are people that do sales, there's people. Sports is more than just people, on the field or making contact or, playing with a puck or shooting shots. They're the day-to-day folks that make it work. Ted, everything down from the person that sweeps the floor down to the person making the big decisions. There are hundreds of thousands of people that work for a team, and this business Black Sports Business Symposium was created to allow a space for African Americans to be able to get into sports, no matter what your field is into, and also be in a space where you're with 2,000-3,000 other people and some of the smartest minds out there. So it's kind of like one big family reunion.
Okay, because you know what, a lot of people look at that all that glitters is gold or isn't gold, because when we see our favorite TV shows, when we see our favorite analysts and play-by-play announcers, we see them as the talent, and we don't know that there's so much that goes on behind the scenes.
Correct.
There's so much with who's putting together the very scripts and editorials and all the above. We don't get to see that. So I think, Tony D, what's going on? I think it's important. It's important that you're going to get to experience all aspects of this game that you're very serious about.
Yeah, I mean, and also there's so many more people that don't get to get the screen time. There's production people, there's people that do the cameras, there are people that do the lighting, people in the control truck. It's just everywhere. And so, you get that ability to have all those people in one room. And, big shout outs to Greg Gibson and the entire team and all the organizations, Ted, everybody from ESPN to the individual teams like the New Orleans Pelicans, your Brooklyn Nets, the LA Rams, the Jacksonville Jaguars, NASCAR, Major League Baseball, the NHL, all these different avenues, among others, are just here just to, to preach diversity and to bring more into their sports, so into their organization.
So, Danny, I guess I can. Nobody was really talking DEI, or wasn't really on the tip of everyone's lips before 2020. Mm-hmm. But then it's like DEI became the thing. So this symposium, is this the first year, the second year, the fifth?
This is the second year. Last year's event was in June, actually on Juneteenth weekend out here in Atlanta. And it was really, like I said, a combination of Greg Gibson getting with Kevin Dimitroff of the Rams, Steve Weishaupt, NFL Network. They have the executive council, and then Arthur Blank is allowing the Black Sports Business Symposium to use Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So and also on top of that, the Arthur Blank Foundation gave and sponsored 100 students from all across. So that means they paid them to attend. They paid their airfare, they paid their room and board to be in Atlanta to be part of this. So like I said, all these organizations are here, and Ted, like I said, it's more than just organizations. It is a lot of just different people. You have recruiters, you have everybody from the U.S. Olympic side of things. I mean, they even sped into hip hop. You know, they have Big Tega and one of the artists D Smoke, as well as people who are in the music industry as well as the fashion industry, because that's part of sports. And like you said, DEI is huge. How to operate in the workplace, how to be able to manage yourself and try to get yourself into these positions. It's so much stuff they have going on. It's crazy how they compact everything. Almost 50 sessions, multiple speakers from Rich Paul to Maria Taylor to Dawn Staley, Bubba Wallace, among others. A laundry list of folks, and they're trying to do this in a 3-day period. So it's super dope. Like I said, it starts tomorrow at 7 a.m. and I'm getting ready for that tomorrow.
Gotcha. It's the way you have so many different featured speakers and what's packed into that specific, the 2 or 3 day set. Does it kind of feel like speed dating?
Well, actually they did that the first year. They did have a speed dating thing where you got to meet new people. You stood in line and basically you went like an assembly line, meeting new people, collecting their contact information, getting to know them, like a 3-minute period. I think they were trying to set the world record for most people connected in 1.5 hour session. So okay. I think I ended up meeting like 35, 40 people in like less than an hour, and you just exchange information and you keep up with them, and you gain more contacts.
Big questions. How many of those people, the 35, 40 people, that you still remain in contact with?
You know what? I have people who are on my LinkedIn personally that message me or like statuses or comment every. So I think about a good 75, 80%. And it's not just students and professionals. It's people who actually work in the industry.
Gotcha.
It's the folks that you never have contact with. It's a lot of networking and just like I said, it's people just coming together for something that they believe in.
Who are you most jazzed up to see?
I mean, Ted. Day one, of course, Rich Paul is speaking on day one. I mean, who doesn't want to be in the same room with the guy that's the man in charge of Clutch Sports? They kick it off with Dawn Staley tomorrow. One of the sessions I am very that's near and dear to both of us. They have one about professional wrestling, past, present, and future, and that's with AEW superstars Jade Cargill, Austin Ricky Starks, Will Powerhouse Hobbs, Willow Nightingale, and Stokely Hathaway speaking about pro wrestling and blacks. Just now, then, in the future. I'm really looking forward to that. They have one about how to transition your current job into working in sports or trying to get moved up and promoted up. They have things with NIL because that's a huge thing. Raekwon Smith he used to play at Norfolk State, who has the most NIL deals. Ted, the most NIL deals. He had 64 deals, and he went to Norfolk State. So he wasn't playing at a Power 5 school. He's at Norfolk State, and so he's known as the king of NIL. I mean, Ted, like I said, there's chief diversity, there's chief executive officers, there's DEI folks, there's communications people, and also there's one about Major League Baseball, about how to bring Major League Baseball into the Black community. So that's one of the ones
I want to stop you there because I think you remember about 10 years ago, we used to talk on Barbershop Sports about, and at that point, it was under 10% of African Americans were actually playing baseball. I'm sure that number has dwarfed 10 years later.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe 7%, 6%, maybe even 8%, but I'm sure it hasn't increased, and it's, I think it's definitely helpful. So are you going to attend that specific session?
I think yes, because there are people who are some of the biggest and brightest minds. And speaking on this panel, of course, NASCAR is huge. Bubba Wallace is part of it, but they also have people who are NASCAR is making a big initiative to get minorities into NASCAR and working in NASCAR. It's more than just drivers. It's putting African Americans in the spots that are needed to show that we have a voice just like everybody else. And like I said, there's a lot of DEI folks here. Like I said, and there's more speakers and more people going to show up, and coming in today and seeing all the people in the lobby, and there's plenty of people who didn't get their badges today, so I can only imagine tomorrow at 7 o'clock when they open the doors for everybody else getting credentials, and you get to see everybody. And the first thing tomorrow morning in one of the sessions is Dawn Staley and LaChina Robinson talking about the playbook of life. And you couldn't have a better opening speaker, a set of speakers than LaChina Robinson at ESPN, who's a tremendous interviewer, women's basketball extraordinaire, and a tremendous analyst, talking to the cream of the crop. I know Kim Mulkey won a national championship, but Dawn Staley is the cream of the crop when it comes to head coaches in all of basketball, not just women's college basketball, but all of basketball.
Dan, is she the keynote speaker? Like, who's the keynote speaker?
I mean, so each day they have two main speakers, basically headline speakers. And on day one it is Rich Paul, and on day two is Maria Taylor.
Got it.
So I mean, anytime you can have Dawn Staley, do it in the middle of the day, and Bubba Wallace and Maya Moore. I mean, Jay Cargill.
Some heavy hitters on there, on that role.
I mean, you have NFL players, Brandon Marshall and Takeo Spikes, and Casey Hayward. There are plenty of NFL folks here, and there's even people who are not speaking that are just here in general. I think Ben Troop of the Tennessee Titans and University of Florida is here. I ran into a couple of folks earlier today, and it's just like you just see different people from everywhere, and some you haven't, some some you don't know. So you get to know and meet a whole bunch of people.
Last question about this. One of my favorite, because he was a good friend of my buddy, the late great C.S. Keys, is Jim Trotter going to be in the house?
He is not. I know. No, he's not in the house this year. There's a few folks that I had. I wish could have been here. Bomani Jones would have been another one. Michael Smith would have been some of the ones, but no, Jim Trotter's not here. I know Steve Weish is on the executive council, so I know he's speaking, I think, tomorrow. But yeah, there's no Jim Trotter this year. Hopefully next year. I know that if he was speaking, it would be one of the most attended sessions. Like I said, this conference went from Deion Sanders, Kevin Warren, who was the commissioner of the Big Ten, who's now the vice president of the Chicago Bears, Valerie Daniels Carter, on top of everybody loves Eric Thomas. I've never seen they had to close out the Falcons locker room because there were so many people trying to see ET speak. So it was like just a multiple people last year, and this year is just even bigger.
All right. I'm looking to have you back for a recap of the Black Business Symposium. Want to ask a question or two about the NBA.
Okay.
Are you shocked or are you not shocked that we came down to, I guess, the 11th hour to get a new CBA in play?
No, I'm not shocked.
Not at all?
No. Ted, they were going to get it done. They've seen what labor situations happen. And to be honest, you got to get this done. You don't want to have this thing linger into next season. Yeah, you didn't make the target time, but hey, listen, they got it done, a little bit. They took overtime, they had to go to overtime a little bit, but they got it done. We don't have to worry about labor. We have labor peace until 2028. And then we can look at it again.
Was Adam Silver involved in the day-to-day negotiation?
I'm sure Adam Silver, along with, Tamika Tremilio of the NBAPA, the representatives of each of the teams, of course, the president, vice president, and treasurer were all involved in it. The NBA bigwigs on the side. So everybody got together for this. This is where you make labor peace, make labor harmony, because you need to have it. We have a new television. The league has a television deal coming up, which is going to be the precursor of what's going to happen in the future, with potential changes with the television networks, or now with streaming services becoming the forefront. I mean, we saw what Amazon did. YouTube TV did yesterday, the NFL Sunday Ticket, and the price is going through the roof.
They butchered it. I will say this much, Danny. Were you in the minority that expected it to for the prices to be what they were, or did you think we were going to get a discount, the consumer?
I thought because people hated DirecTV's pricing for years, you couldn't have gone higher than what they did, but YouTube decided to go higher than what they did. So now I want to know, because you're charging more money, what more service you're getting than what DirecTV got you. Red Zone's not enough.
Helen, how you doing?
I need on the field action. I need extra mascot coverage. I better get something, because them prices are completely just through the roof. And you got to think, and the worst part is they took the college discount away for college students. The one folks that were already struggling as this, they don't even get that discount anymore.
So here's what I'm going to say about this. You knew that the price was going to have to be outrageous when you look at CBS and Fox paying $2.5 billion a year for their packages to air the 1 and 4 o'clock games.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing great.
We are. You know what? YouTube pay a lot of money for NFL Sunday tickets, so I guess they're going to get their money back somehow.
Yes.
It's either that or they're going to raise YouTube TV prices.
Yes. Well, it's and the thing is, there's a $100 discount if you do it before June, but you already have to be a member of YouTube TV.
Or they're going to completely hit you over the head even further. We're talking about $500 for non-members of YouTube TV.
Non-member, and if you want the Red Zone channel. Because for me, Red Zone channel, and I'm good. That's all I need.
Ted, we talk about this off the air all the time. Where is the a la carte package? Let me have my Atlanta Falcons and Red Zone on Sundays.
And that's what we were thinking, and we'll chew about this another time.
Yeah, $149 for my favorite team, please.
Or even you pull a NBA type deal and say, hey, I want to see the fourth quarter.
Give me the witching hour. Give me the NFL Red Zone witching hour.
Yes. Hey, I want to follow up with a quick question on, because I know you're short for time.
Okay.
We're talking about the aforementioned NBA TV deals for 24-25 expiration. I'm hearing a lot of noise, and I know you and I talked about it off air and pre-pro. Would you consider TNT a legacy station? Would you think they're going to be the odd person out or odd provider out?
I don't know if they're going to have as much power, much basketball powerless going forward. I think Turner cannot let the NBA go, but I don't think they keep the same package the way it is.
But what if they just have Thursday nights?
Like I said, they might take a reduced package. Ted. TNT might go into load management on the NBA games.
All right. How much has load management destroyed this league, Danny? And I don't know if you can talk about this.
I mean,
you know what? I don't want to put you in a situation.
No, I mean, when you say destroyed the league, it's like, every person on the soapbox in the 80s, 70s, and 80s were saying that they played 82 games, they played 45 night. But basketball's changed a lot, Ted, over the last 10, 15, 20 years. Players are more athletic. Players do a lot more than they did, in the 70s, 80s. So the wear and tear on players' bodies is immense. That's why you look at LeBron James and look how much money he spends on his body. He spends over $1 million on his body every year, and he still plays 55 games a season. It's to the point, Ted, where load management is killing the league. But here's the other problem: you cannot play more games. You can't extend the season out any further, and owners ain't going for a shorter season. Because the sad thing is, if you're going to do shorter season, they're still going to load manage anyway. So it doesn't help the game, and really it doesn't help you if you're a fan of the away team in your local market. If you're a fan of Phoenix and they're coming to town and you bought those tickets 6 months ago, you better hope that Kevin Durant's playing in that game.
I would not trust that at all.
The same thing with the Lakers. You're paying the biggest price to LeBron James, and you don't know if he's even going to show up.
How is that making the league better?
It's not in some ways, but
Okay.
also guys missing games allows other guys to step into bigger roles. So one guy out, next man up. I think what the NBA needs to do with the next television deal, and even in the next season, is we need to start showcasing more teams.
Not and not the old school NBA on CBS, NBA on NBC, and show the same 6 teams over and
Yeah,
over and over.
because nowadays you're trying to build stars for the next generation. You're trying to build the next generation of guys. People have
Who
to know about. You have
Danny?
to know
Who
about.
are so? Kevin Durant is 35.
Mm-hmm.
Steph Curry is 35. LeBron James is 38. Who's the next wave?
I mean, Giannis is going to lead the league into the next part, but I think after that, you know, we should be watching more Anthony Edwards play back, more games of Anthony Edwards. He who is a complete monster. Joel Embiid's 29, so like I said, he's going to be in that Giannis bracket. But we're talking about the young guns in the league. We're talking about Anthony Edwards. I can't wait to see what Cade Cunningham is going to do when he returns to Detroit next season. LaMelo Ball and Charlotte. Of course, everybody wants to see Wemby. Everybody cannot wait to see.
Everybody wants to see. He's going to save the league.
I mean, it's must-see television. I mean, hopefully, Jaylen Brown, I think has a superstar potential. So Jason Tatum has a chance to be the best player in the league. What Cleveland's doing with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, those guys are all under the age of 27. They're all super young. So the league's in good hands. I mean, Damian Lillard's 34, 35. You see those guys getting older, but we have guys in this league. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. We get to see Josh Giddey, and then the unleashing of Chet Holmgren next season. There's a guy down in New Orleans who will be named nameless on his podcast tonight. If somehow he actually could hit a floor and stay healthy, he's the guy that can get people in seats watching things on a nightly basis. John Moran.
It isn't the person to be named later. Is it a mental health issue now? And we're not talking about Ben Simmons, the person down in New Orleans.
I mean, the comments were polarizing, and I'll be really worried if training camp comes next season, he's not ready to play. And then you go into buyer's remorse at that point. Like if this guy is not ready to go in September, we got a problem.
So 90 games played in 3 seasons. Those are Joel Embiid type numbers.
His first couple of years, and then he somehow found health. The problem is Zion Williamson has a top 10 jersey sales. Zion Williamson puts people in seats. When he's on television, people watch Zion Williamson. But that was a great point being made tonight by Michael Wilborn on the ESPN pre-show tonight, where they were talking about guys who were his size, in the earlier days. Those guys weren't doing what Zion's was trying to do on a nightly basis. Those guys stayed in one confined area, and they weren't out there shooting jump shots and taking people off the dribble.
Right.
Charles Barkley was not out here, jacking threes or playing. He played the pass lane occasionally, but he wasn't out there doing what Zion does. And Barkley had a very, very long career. I mean, Barkley played at 300 pounds at 6'4", doing things that Zion was doing now. So, I mean, Jalen Rose made a point. You say you love the game, but do you love the game enough to take care of your body? So that's what you got to do. So
okay. Who do you expect to be? I guess something where you're going to be like, whoa, the big upset in the first round of the playoffs.
The one upset I can see happening in the first round that I wouldn't be surprised, besides the Clippers beating the Suns, which I'm staying this until I'm blue in the face, the Clippers will beat the Suns. The upset, listen, why have an odd feeling that the Atlanta Hawks are going to beat the Boston Celtics?
Wow. Okay.
I have an odd feeling about this, that Trae Young and the boys in Atlanta are going to shoot down Boston, and the Jaylen Brown Jason Tatum marriage could really be over at this point.
Would you have that same feeling if the Miami Heat had won their playing game?
Listen, playoff Jimmy's playoff Jimmy. But something
True.
about this whole situation in Boston doesn't sound right to me. And I know those guys have been together, and you can hear, it's just something about Jaylen Brown ready to have his own team.
Yeah.
And I think Atlanta has talked about trading Trae Young. I feel like they could get swapped for each other.
Okay.
Trae doesn't have to be the guy taking every shot, but he still can be a playmaker, still give you 25, 28 points a game as a number 2 option in Jason Tatum and take some of the pressure off him. And Jaylen Brown can come home and be the guy in Atlanta. Put him and DeJounte Murray together. That's even more dangerous backcourt than Trae Young and DeJounte Murray.
Who gets the Houston Rockets job?
They can have Rudy Tomjanovich. That job is not even remote. That roster is a complete mess. They have built the wrong set of young guys together, and I'm not sure how this is going to get fixed. I would say if it's not Kenny Atkinson ready to take a job, which ironically might be if you a better job than what Charlotte was last season.
Mm-hmm.
The Raptors now up by 4, and their lead is dwindling. So if elimination, if there's an elimination up north, there's a coach that could be headed down south.
I've been hearing his name. I guess the last thing is, last question is, Ime Udoka. Does he rear his head? I saw him at a game the other day.
I think he gets back in the NBA this season. I'm not sure about head coaching job. I think he's somebody's lead assistant this year. So
okay.
you can't put him back in. You still got to rehab the PR, and you got to make sure he's in a good place. But I think he's on somebody's bench next season, and I think he could be a coach as early as 2024.
Got it. Danny, want to thank you for coming through. We got you in and out of here in under 30 minutes.
Yes,
I
sir.
guess this is like a warm-up for you because you're getting ready to do EJ's podcast.
Yep.
Shout out to EJ.
Yeah, my man, EJ Christian. So I'm running over there right now.
All right. I'll talk with you soon. And hey, Danny, where do we find you on social media?
Check out my work on Substack of the Wonderful World of Data, also 3-point conversion, and you can catch me on Late Night Parents when Ted sends the bat signal.
All right. And we're out.